wants to pick them up or like try to soothe them. And sometimes it doesn't work. And, I'm like sitting here thinking, when have I like encouraged them to like kind of keep, holding them or snuggling them or whatever to try to fix it when maybe that wasn't the right thing to do. So this is really helpful in making me think about like what I should be doing versus what I have been doing.
Oh, that's so, yeah. It is. And it's not, I like that it's like this, like there's 3 levels. It's not like a yes, no binary, like good, go. I mean, there's always this gray area that could trend one direction or another. And so reading those cues and helping parents. And, I really, going back to Caitlin, what you said is that, it comes from a place of like love and like wanting to be with their children, wanting to help. And they maybe don't know how to do that. And they can be. So, kind of how do we gently point that out? And then obviously if we see these positive moments, these are really great to say, oh, look how he smiled when you said that, or look, he's looking for your voice right now. He knows your voice because he heard your voice when he was in utero. And so connecting those positives is going to be really important. So the coaching, the parents, going back to parents are looking to us. We're modeling the skills and they're going to be watching us. And, so us being the best models that we can be and giving our best, engaging with that baby. And then, bringing the parents along by the bedside and saying, like, let's do this together and let's practice together, especially for those parents that are a little more unsure. And finding ways to then transfer that capacity. So lots of positive reinforcement. You're doing great. This is being wonderful. And I like, Caitlin, what did you say? You said, something about not pause, but it was almost like, let's try again later. So it's not like this is a bad idea, that what you just did. It's just like a not right now. I forget what word you used. Maybe you said try later, and that just resonated with me.
I wish I could remember for you, but hey, it's being recorded, so you can.
Yes, there we go. I'll be like, Caitlin was brilliant at marker mile 25. And I'm going to steal that going forward because it was, whatever you said, it was very reassuring to tell you as a nurse and a parent. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I would respond positively to that if you said that to me, and I wouldn't feel too like I'm doing something totally wrong. It's just the situation is not right now, but. So we're going to model it, and then we're going to bring the parents in and we're going to have them do it and give them positive reinforcement with the idea that it's like an I do, we do, and then you do, because the goal eventually is for them to go home and for them to do these skills and carry them on at home and when we're not around. So,
yeah. I was just going to add on the I do. I'm sure Olivia, Caitlin, and Michaela are kind of like, okay, this is great, but I'm so busy at work. It's so hard to just get everything done and meet all the demands. And we totally get that. But I love, just kind of inserting, especially with the narrate, that you're already doing all the things that you need to do for your patients. If narration, I would say narrate your day is almost the, one, if you can just incorporate that into, oh my gosh, okay, when I do things, I'm just going to kind of put words to it. That's a nice way to do the I do when you already feel like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can add one more thing to my day. We love for nurses to feel like this is not a one more thing, right. Or for parents, because we have busy moms, single moms that have 3 kiddos or 4 kiddos, and like, well, but if you give your baby a bath once in a while, or if you're changing a diaper or you're giving him a banana, just here's your banana, just putting words to it.
Right.
So that it doesn't feel additional.
Yeah.
No, I found that.
Go ahead. Go, Michaela.
I was going to say, so my mom is like a talk with me baby. Like that's her thing. She loves it. I had never been, trained in it or anything before, but she was very much an advocate for talking to your baby and narrating things. And so I found that a good thing for me to do that was helpful to me, while I was still getting things done at work, was to narrate to the baby so that it's helpful to me. So if I'm taking a temperature, I'm like, oh, your temp is 36.3. Let's see, we might need to put a blanket on you and let's do some facilitated tucking, right? And so that helps me to go back when I'm charting and go, okay, I did the facilitated tucking. The temp was 36.3. So that helps me.
Yeah.
That's great to think of it as an asset.
Right.
Auditory feedback.
Yeah. Yes. You're more likely to remember it because you said it aloud. And I always say too that, is that, a lot of times if parents are at the bedside, they're very stressed and they're there. Is this normal? Is this normal? That's the question we always get, is like, everything okay? Should that be happening? And so by talking it through, it almost sort of normalizes, or at least explains what's happening, because a lot of times they're like, what's happening? What are you doing? Like, what's that? What medicine is that? And so I think that helps too. But I love your example of kind of like memoing what you did. And you're like, yeah, I did that because I remember saying that I did that.
Right. It's really helpful. And then you'll say, oh, I'll come back in 30 minutes to reassess that temp. We're just going to check it again, see how things are going. Like, it helps me. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think, there was an interesting book that I read one time from a parent's perspective, and the name of the chapter was my son's not a beeping machine, and because they said oftentimes that the nursing staff would come in and that they would just adjust whatever was happening, and then they would leave without saying anything. And to that point is that we are all really busy and there's a lot of things happening, but we can, as we're adjusting that machine of like, okay, great, your medication's done. I'm going to go get a flush and this is what I'm going to do. And all of those things are still language exposure. And so it's like that's why I say narrate your day is kind of something that I can very easily say I can do even when I'm at busy. So it's not like an extra thing. And then you could turn it into a positive, not only language exposure, but help you to chart better, right?
That's right. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of working on that. Like, I'm going to do it. We're going to do it together, and then transfer it to the you do. So, yes, these are some of the benefits of Talk With Me Baby, and how they truly are family-centered care, is that when parents are talking with their babies, they're going to feel more engaged with their baby, and it's going to increase the parental bond. It also empowers parents, especially in a situation in the NICU where they feel like they're powerless sometimes, right? And so they can say that I feel like I can control this brain development and my baby, and engaging with them. It also gives them something to do, because sometimes they are feeling, again, like powerless, or like, I don't know what to do. And they're just sitting there, and what should we be doing? And they can talk with their baby, and it makes them feel more in control, and it decreases their stress and their fear. And it kind of really just like helps them to walk through and navigate some of these complex situations in the NICU. And then it really bonds, the baby and the parent, but also creates this partnership between, nurses and allied health, and for everybody to be working together towards building this baby's brain stronger. And then last but certainly not least, what we love is it's free. You don't have to have an iPad. You don't have to have a subscription. You don't have to have any of these fancy toys of Baby Einstein. That talking with their babies can be something that can make a drastic difference on their neurodevelopmental outcomes. So the next couple of slides, we wanted to hear from you guys. What are some ways in which you would approach these situations and get some feedback from you? And then we'll ask you some more questions about Talk With Me Baby. But we broke them apart based on gestation, knowing that the different gestation ages, you're going to approach how you're engaging with that baby differently. And maybe some of these techniques that you would say would work, or you've used them in those situations, or how you could use them in that situation. So our first session is going to be our younger babies, less than 32 weeks. So you can see these little babies. What suggestions do you have on these situations? Or if you were working with a parent in this situation, how would you approach, like, with using the skills of Talk With Me Baby?
I think for the kiddos younger that, we kind of cluster their care times and are trying to get in, get out, maybe they're in isolate and we're trying to keep down stimulation. I think we could even be talking to the baby and educating the parent at the same time. So maybe like when I'm talking to the baby, like, hey baby, I know you love your peace and quiet. I'm just going to get in here and change your diaper, take your temperature. And then I'll get you all snuggled up and close the door so you can get more rest. And then that way it's also like cluing the parent in, like, we have to do these things and do this low stem, but then the baby is going to prefer when we're done with that, if we give them time to rest.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah. And the clustering of it and telling them like, I'm talking with them, but I'm also doing all these things so that it's not overstimulating them.